Hello, friends, and welcome to Listening to the Verde. Listening to the Verde is a program to inspire, engage, and inform you about the Verde River and its communities. I'm Nancy Steele, Executive Director of Friends of the Verde River. This program is brought to you by the Arizona Humanities with additional support from the Lutheran Mission Endowment Fund. Our guest today is author Roger Naylor. Welcome and thanks for joining me, Roger.
It's my pleasure.
Wonderful. You may know Roger, but he is an Arizona author who writes books about Arizona. I even own one or two. Boots and Burgers was the first one of his books that I bought even before I moved here to the Verde. His books are essential if you want to explore this great state. In fact, he writes the official Arizona State Visitor Guide and the award-winning Arizona State Parks, a guide to amazing places in the Grand Canyon State. You might also find his work in the Arizona Republic, Arizona Highways, US Today, and other magazines. In 2018, he was inducted into the Arizona Tourism Hall of Fame. Even if you've never read one of his books, if you've ridden on the Verde Canyon Railroad any time since 2020, you've heard his voice narrating the trip in between the railroad songs. I'm so pleased to have you on our show, Roger.
I'm happy to be here. Thank you. I always love getting a chance to blab about Arizona and especially the Verde Valley, the Verde River. I've been a resident here for 28 years, and it's my home that I love dearly.
Wonderful. What does the Verde say to you?
Well, it calls me. It invites me out to play every day. It's my escape. It's my sanctuary. It reminds me that there is hope. Even on dark days, even on sad days or whatever, we live in an arid state, and yet the Verde River is always there for me. I live just a few miles from Dead Horse Ranch State Park, and that's my personal backyard. I consider it. I've been hiking there every day that I'm in town for the past 28 years, so I have worn out those trails all over the place, and a lot of that time is spent wandering along the Verde River in the shady canopy there on the sandy banks. I was there hiking around the lagoons yesterday at the park and wandered down to the river and stuff just to say hello.
Yeah.
I always like to check and see how it's doing. So we need those little pieces of sanctuary. We need those. That's what state parks provide us. And that's what these kind of places provide us. The Verde River, the recreation areas, but beyond all the significance of protecting the water resources and everything, it's wild country right on our doorstep, and that's a gift that
Yeah.
Very few places have.
Yeah. Dead Horse is also one of my favorite places. I'm just curious if there's a trail or a route that you really like, that you would recommend.
I love them all, and it just depends on my mood. Sometimes yesterday was kind of a nice lazy day, and I just made laps around all the lagoons and then cut through down along the river. And
That's my
the
favorite
park, yeah,
thing to
and
do too.
the park it has such interconnected trails, so you can just kind of go everywhere if you know them and stuff. And then other days I want the workout, so I do a big loop up into the lower Raptor hill trail and the lime kiln trail, and sometimes I go for miles and miles back into the limestone hills into the grass country, hoping to see pronghorn or mule deer or just enjoying the solitude there. But there's something for every mood, every day, every season. A lot of people don't like to be out in the summertime here because, well, maybe it's a little too hot. Oh, man, that's perfect. That's great because I can go down to the Verde and I've got shade, I've got cooling water. Nobody's there. It's all mine. Just me and watching for river otters and a bald eagle circling overhead. I mean, what's a better day than that?
I know. The day that I saw a beaver in the pond was amazing. I haven't seen one since, but it was it looked like a dead log floating in the river, and then I kept looking at it and noticed that there are actually eyes. It wasn't a log. And then, of course, it
Nice.
did the classic slap of the tail
Yeah.
and dive into the water.
Nice. We saw two beavers in the original lagoon there, and it's been many, many years, and have not like that. Have not seen them since. I see otters quite a bit,
Yeah.
but I've not seen the beaver in the lagoon again. But it's nice to know that they're still around and
Yeah.
about. So
Now, are you a birder at all? Do you look for birds when you're out?
you know, I can name about 10 different birds, and one of them's woody woodpecker. So
Yeah.
I'm kind of limited with but I love seeing them, and certainly love spotting the bald eagles when I see them. Nice to know that they're neighbors. Yesterday I had this great blue and was going around the lagoon. I sort of have an ongoing feud with one great blue heron who gets very mad at me when during the summertime, because a lot of times it's just he and I out there, and he's
Yeah.
just fishing by the bank, and here I am making my laps, and what he does is he tends to go flapping off, even though I'm trying to give him a wide berth,
Right.
and he'll circle out over the water and then land in the trail again. So here I come a few seconds later, and we'll do this about 3 or 4 times until finally he goes flying off to the river, just mad as can be and stuff. So
Yeah.
I'm kind of used to that. But yesterday I'm walking. It's such a beautiful day. It was nice and just idyllic. And I walked by, and here's this a great blue heron. And instead of standing really tall, he's kind of just crouched and enjoying himself. And he just stayed put and let me take a couple of nice photos. The water, the sun was shimmering on the water, and it was just very pretty. And I chatted with him, exchanged some pleasantries, and then continued on my hike and stuff. So
Nice.
I always love those kind of experiences. But as far as being able to identify a lot of different birds, no, sorry, I wish I could. But
Maybe someday.
Yeah, someday.
Yeah.
I enjoy listening to them and seeing them,
Yeah.
even if I don't know their names.
Yeah, that's one of the sounds of the Verde is the backdrop always of the bird song.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so it's wonderful. Besides Dead Horse, are there any other favorite places that you love in the Verde?
Oh, I hike all the trails around here. I try to experience them all. I love being out and about. That's one of the gifts of living in the Verde Valley. One of the main reasons that we wanted to live here, why we moved here so many years ago, when we were looking for a place, we wanted a small town that was accessible, close to some other things, but had a lot of wild country right outside and stuff. So I get to all the different trail segments. Some days it's nice to get up and go hiking in the Red Rocks of Sedona, and to be able to do that in just a matter of minutes.
Yeah.
Is just an amazing. Sometimes I'll go further afield. If every now and then I wake up in the morning and go, I think I'll have a lunch in the Grand Canyon and go drive to the Grand Canyon, hike down a couple of miles, eat lunch, hike back out, drive home in time for dinner. So I mean,
Right.
That's the beauty of being in Arizona and stuff. But the Verde Valley is. I just wrote a piece about for the Arizona Republic about Montezuma Well, and they had me on the K-Jazz, the show, Lauren Gilger, because she had not even heard about it, and didn't even know this place existed here
Wow.
in the valley and stuff. So I was on the radio talking about it, saying, it's such a little hidden gem. And I guess I realized, because I think we're the fortunate ones who live here, know about all these little kind of hidden places and stuff. But to other people, it's I never even knew about that. They know about Montezuma Castle, but this a magical sinkhole out in the middle of nowhere over there in McGuireville or Rimrock, where it just pumps out this. I think it's 1.5 million gallons of water every day that goes into the Beaver Creek and still goes down old canals built by the Sinawa. And stuff, and just the life that goes on in there. There's 5 endemic species that live at Montezuma Well that exist nowhere else in the world.
One
and
of them's a leech, right?
Yeah, one of them's a leech. I mean, I think that's the most of any single water hole in the entire Southwest.
Wow.
Not more and stuff. So I mean, it's just an amazing little. The leeches stay down in the darkness in the evening.
Yeah.
And then they rise up in the at night and feed on the little crustaceans.
So say they're
up
not
there and
people
stuff. Yeah,
leeches,
yeah,
right?
they're not
They're not
the kind of
interested in
big
people.
African queen kind of they're the leeches on us, but they have it's this little ongoing war that goes on every day there in this little placid little pond. It's just amazing. I love places like that. I love finding out little secret about those kind of things.
Yeah, wonderful. Um, when you decided to make this place your home, where were you coming from? A little bit of your background.
Well, I grew up in Cincinnati, Ohio, and was always interested in the West. Always knew that I wanted to come west. Had no idea how. I came out to college, applied for college at Northern Arizona University. Did it very much at the last minute because I was afraid my high school sweetheart was wanting very much to get married, and I didn't want to at that time in my life. So I kind of bolted for college because that was sort of the only way you could respectably go across country as a teenager. So I came out to Flagstaff, got on a plane for the first time in my life, flew across the country, landed in Flagstaff, stepped off the plane, smelled that pine scented air for the first time, fell in love. Love at first sight. There's the San Francisco peaks rising overhead. I was enchanted. Too much in love because it derailed my college career. I was Dean's List the first semester, but by the second semester I was on academic probation because by then I realized I could get up in the morning and walk to class, or I could hitchhike to the Grand Canyon, or up to the peaks, or down to Sedona, or So I dropped out of college, spent most of the next few years just rambling around Arizona. Um, Much to my parents' delight, who were convinced their son was now a drifter. But I just worked when I needed to and just explored and just fell in love with every corner of the state and, go back to Ohio and work and come back and travel, did that over and over. When I got married, I brought my wife out here on honeymoon, so this is where we're going to live someday, and took her all around. And fortunately, she fell in love with it too. And, as my writing progressed, once I got to a point where I thought I could make a living as a freelance writer, I don't have to be in Cincinnati. Because by that time in Cincinnati, I was kind of well known. I was writing for the newspaper and magazines and television, radio, and stuff. So I knew I could make a very comfortable living, but I also knew I'd be very miserable. So once I felt like I could make it, we moved out here. It's just been the best decision of my life. And so now I still ramble around all over Arizona. I like to remind my parents I'm doing exactly what I did as a teenager, but now they pay me for it. So
Right.
I was just a travel writer in training. I didn't know it at the time. So yeah, I started writing for. I was writing for humor columns for a lot of newspapers and magazines around the country for many years, and then I thought, I'm living such a great life in Arizona. That's what I want to write about. So I started pitching some story ideas to the Arizona Highways magazine. They bought them. Pretty soon I'm writing for Arizona Highways. A couple of years later, I started writing for Arizona Republic, and it just kind of snowballed from there. So for the past 17 years, I've been the full-time freelance travel writer for the Arizona Republic. So
Okay.
I get to cover the entire state, other than Phoenix. They have the staff that kind of covers Phoenix, and I do the rest of the state.
Oh, okay.
that's
So
it.
I wondered about that because I see other writers doing the travel writing in the Republic.
Yeah, they do. They'll generally do, and they go out and do cover some events or cover specific things and stuff. But yeah, I do kind of the state is my beat.
Yeah, wonderful. I think we're getting close to time for a short break, and we'll be right back in a minute. Welcome back to Listening to the Verde. We're here with Roger Naylor, an Arizona author and travel writer, and we're talking about all things Verde River, as we do on this show. Roger, I ride the Verde Canyon Railroad as often as I can. Whenever someone comes to town, that's always number one on our list of things to do. And there's a voice that we hear narrating the trip that we're on, and I understand that's your voice.
That is, at least since 2020. Yeah, I've not heard it. I've not been on it. I used to. They kind of lost the custom when they hired me to do it, because I used to ride it quite a bit too and take people on. And now I think I don't know if I can listen to myself for that long of a time. But I'd written about the railroad many times in the past. It's always just a delight. It's such a wonderful experience. And then, yeah, all the out of town folks that I took on it just enjoyed it so much. So we had a relationship. They knew who I was, and I'd written some press releases and different things for them. They'd hired me to do some freelance writing in the past and stuff. And they approached me a couple of years ago and said, would you be interested in doing the voice? And they gave me a script that was okay, but it felt kind of stilted too. And I said, do you mind if I work on it, if I rewrite it? And they, so I rewrote the script and did the voice, and so the narration. So yeah, I understand that I'm there all the time. Yeah. I guess I'm even in the depot when they're wandering around, so I can't. I hope it's not too annoying.
It's not at all.
Terrible.
No. It's actually wonderful. Yeah. You should. They should give you a free trip, in fact, on the train, so you can hear yourself. It's actually quite lovely, and they do intersperse it with the railroad songs, so it's not just all Roger Naylor talking to us, but it is really quite nice. I enjoy it a lot, and I thought it was a fun thing to hear that they didn't go out to Hollywood to hire some voice actor. They actually used you to do it.
Yeah, it was very nice, and again, because it's a special experience for me. It's one that I have been on many times in the previous years and enjoyed, and I know how important it is to the community, and how it kind of gives us a little bit of identity. I mean, if you ask people about Clarkdale outside the state, that's generally what they'll know, if they know anything. That's where the railroad is, the Verde Canyon Railroad. And it's so many people have experienced that over the years, and it's a great introduction to the Verde River for a lot of people. They get to see it in a way that other folks don't. That you make that slow ride over, and there it's unfolding. You get to see the wildlife that it attracts. You get to see the eagles and the herons, and sometimes other things. You get to see the wildflowers blooming in the seasons. You get to see the summer greenery and the fall colors, and it's a really nice connection between the two. So I like that very much.
Yeah. So have you had a chance? Do you kayak the river?
I have. I'm not a huge kayak. I don't swim, so I'm always a little nervous on water. In fact, when they were first starting to do some of the kayaking, one of the groups that approached me and said, we'd love to have you come out and do a trip with us. And they could tell I was a little hesitant, and they said, well, in most places, at least at that time of year, most places, you can stand up in the river. So I thought, okay, well, I can stand up. I can't swim, but I can stand up. I've been standing up for a long time now. So I did a kayak, and it was great. It was great fun. I wrote a two-piece article for the Arizona Republic on it, and yeah, had a great time and stuff.
I'll have to look up the article.
So yeah, it was I'm such a hiker. I like having my feet on the ground, and there's such a difference between desert hikers and kayakers and stuff. I thought, man, you guys, you're so full of hope, and you're all surrounded by water, and when you brush by, greenery, it's also nice. And I'm out hiking in the desert, and everything out here is going to try to stab me or sting me or slice me open. It's like being in a relationship with someone who's trying to kill me all the time. But I love the desert, so all aspects of that. But um, yeah, it's a terrific experience, and that's, I think, one of the things I like so much again about the Verde River is that softness. Because I do travel the state, and I'm everywhere for my books and for my articles. So I spend a lot of time, hiking in different corners of the state under all sorts of different extremes. Out among the Sororos or out in the high elevations or across sandstone, and it's all exciting. It's all beautiful. I love it, and I'm always so happy to come home
Yeah.
and just take a walk down along the river and
Mhm.
around the lagoons and just have that calmness and have that
Yeah.
peacefulness, and that's just the best. It's nice to be able to do that. It's nice to. I'm so passionate about Arizona, and I want to see every corner of it. And everything I write is designed to get people to do that. To get out and explore all the things that we have, all these wonders that we have out and about. But it's so nice then to want to come home again. To never feel like, oh man, I wish I lived here. It's like, oh, this is great to visit, but I'm glad when I'm home. I'm glad
Yeah.
when I'm back on the river. I'm glad when I'm back in the valley and have that again. That feels good, and that hasn't changed after 28 years.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's wonderful. I feel that way too. I spend a lot of time hiking in other places where if you slip, you can reach out and grab a plant to break your fall. You do
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
You do that here,
yeah.
you're going to
That's
be in pain.
you're taking some chances there.
Yeah.
That's one of the things. Yeah, you have to stay very small
Yeah.
and compact, and
Yeah.
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 My my sister and her husband were living in Seattle for a few years, and they came out to the desert to go hiking, and they kind of trailing. And immediately, I had to, no, no, don't let things hang off. I said, I showed him we've already got cactus spines stuck in, because you
Yeah.
have a loose sleeve there. So I said, you just have to kind of stay on the trail and be at peace with it. And just,
Right.
make your, you don't fight against the desert, or you just accept it and move through it in a
Right.
gentle way, and enjoy the beauty. The complexity. Everyone sees harshness sometimes in this landscape of ours, and I don't. I mean, I know it can be unforgiving. It can be uh, dangerous. It doesn't tolerate carelessness or mistakes, but it's incredibly beautiful, incredibly complex, incredibly fragile, and
Mhm.
it's up to us to kind of protect that. And you guys do such great work with our number one, our main resource in the state, by protecting the water, by protecting the river, keeping that flow going and safe, and letting people enjoy it and appreciate it. Because the more people that enjoy it and appreciate it, the more people that will want to protect it and save it, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. You can't save a place if you don't know it and love it. And getting people out hiking and kayaking and even enjoying a beer or a burger after a hike, that helps them to love the place.
Absolutely. That's one of my wife's and I, our favorite things is sometimes we'll just do a picnic. We just pack up some food, or just grab carry out on the way to Dead Horse, and then just go and sit at a picnic table by the water,
Yeah.
and just enjoy a quick little lunch, and then
Yeah.
both back to our days and stuff. So it's the idea of having that right outside our doors, the idea that we can access that in a matter of minutes, is just an incredible gift. And I think more people got to appreciate that during the pandemic, when things were off limits and when there was lockdowns and stuff. Even during the harshest time with that, I could still go hiking
Yeah.
in Dead Horse. I could still be outside. I could
Right.
still have that connection to nature, and that was a lifesaver.
Yeah. Now, in our remaining time, I know you have a new book out.
I do.
And it's, what, 100 places? What, remind me of the title.
It's Awesome Arizona.
There we go.
200
200.
amazing facts about the Grand Canyon State. This is one I'm very excited about because a lot of times on my social media pages, I post little fact sheets about Arizona just to kind of dispel some myths about, you know, well, Arizona's this or that, or you don't know about all this stuff. So, and those are always very popular. So I decided to compile all these incredible facts about Arizona and put it all in one book. And so I'm very excited about it. So, yeah, that's my latest. You mentioned a couple of my others. If you'd like to read more or learn more about the Verde River and Dead Horse Ranch State Parks, my book Arizona State Parks came out in 2019. It was voted best Arizona travel book by the New Mexico Arizona Book Awards, and the following year came out Arizona Scenic Roads and Hikes, which also very much involves the Verde Valley because we are here at we have a couple of officially designated scenic roads that come through town and stuff. So it's a really nice gift. Again, another award winner was voted best Arizona travel book and also won as best overall Arizona book and stuff. So those are all available on my website.
I don't know if it's one of the scenic rides, but I always think, so when I'm driving north on I-17 coming home from Phoenix, there's that sign that says how many minutes to get to Sedona via 179 or via 89A. And it's always less time to take 179. But I think, man, that drive up 89A is just beautiful.
That is one of that's the Dry Creek scenic road. Of course, you know, also the other part of 89A that here's the Jerome Clarkdale Cottonwood Historic Road. So that brings us into Cottonwood, and then 89A, the Dry Creek Scenic Road, takes us into Sedona there, and then you go on, of course, one of the most famous scenic roads, the Sedona Oak Creek Canyon Scenic Road up through the canyon onto Flagstaff and stuff. So, I mean, again, we're just very blessed in this region that we live, that there's so much incredible beauty. So what I did in that book with the scenic roads is I combined them with some of my favorite hiking trails around, because you know, you take a beautiful drive, maybe you like to get out and walk around a little bit like that. So you get to see all sorts of different places, and then I included local places to eat and sleep as well and stuff, so that you know, I always want people to support the local businesses, the mom and pop businesses and stuff. So
yeah, that's wonderful. I mean, all those places you mentioned are part of the Verde watershed. So when we think about the Verde, we often think just about the corridor through the middle Verde, you know, the sort of Clarkdale to Camp Verde. And we think that's the Verde, but the Verde's really the basin, the land that nourishes and feeds the Verde River is almost 6% of Arizona's land area. So Sedona all the way up to Humphreys is actually the water on the east side of Humphreys flows into the river when it melts, and all the way over into Prescott, to the east to Payson. The northernmost part of the basin actually intersects with the Wallapai Indian Reservation, close to not the Grand Canyon, but close. We're getting close up there. And then, of course, all the way down to Scottsdale and Fountain Hills in the Phoenix metro area. So you're in the Verde a lot longer than you think you are.
Exactly. See, I didn't know it was quite that extensive, but I am aware of, you know, all the drainages, because one of the popular stories that I write quite a bit are every few years are some of the best swimming holes in Arizona and stuff. And almost all of them, I'll give you a little hint, almost all of them are around here, and that's because of a lot of the creeks draining off the Mogollon Rim, heading towards the Verde and stuff, and create all these incredible little swimming holes.
Wet Beaver Creek being one of them.
Wet Beaver Creek, Slide Rock, the Parsons Trail, you know, all these different Fossil Creek until fortunately you know, the fire, but I think they're reopening it this year, so that's very exciting and stuff. But yeah, there's so it's a great little way to experience, you know, so not only we have this beautiful landscape, but you know, all these beautiful riparian corridors that are protected here. So
And it's important to protect those.
Absolutely.
Well, any final words before we close out
Well,
the show?
it was a pleasure chatting with you. I'm happy to. I love getting out and about and talking about Arizona. This is such a remarkable state. That's why I write the books, so that more people get to discover that. And if you'd like to learn more about the books or follow along with me, my website is rogernaylor.com, and you can go there and learn more. But thank you for all the great work that you do in protecting the Verde, because you give me a place to go outside and play day after day after day after day, and you give me drinking water, and all that. I appreciate all of that. So you guys are doing great work.
Well, and thank you for writing about it, because if we don't know it, if we don't love it, we can't save it.
Well, exactly. That's my goal, is to get more people to discover the importance and significance of these places, and then we've got more people on our side that are wanting to save it.
Yes, yes. So there you have it, rogernaylor.com, if you want to pick up one of Roger's books. Thank you again. Thank you for joining me today, and thank you for watching, listening to the Verde. For more episodes or to learn about the Verde River watershed, please visit verderiver.org/listening. Thank you very much for joining us today.
Listening to the Verde is brought to you by Friends of the Verde River. Please visit verderiver.org/listening for more videos and resources.